Shamans, we understand, cause we are the tech shamans. Dude, I got this cool thing to show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff. Awesome. Yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the tech shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the tech shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the tech shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the tech shamans. Cool.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Tech Shamans are here. Sorry we missed last week. I had been trying to do some stuff with some local restaurants and small businesses on the show Open for Business that we've started. And so we had a whole weird thing go on 2 weeks ago where one of our cameras decided, even though our settings were correct, our light balance was correct, the whole 9 yards, it decided it wanted to be goofy and give me massive noise, which in our world is a very bad thing. So how you doing, Anthony?
Happy birthday to you.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you.
See, you guys.
Anybody guess whose birthday it is today?
It's Rob's.
Yeah. It's Rob.
It's Rob's.
There is no Rob. Only Zool.
Oh, only Zool. So thanks. You guys, literally, it's first time I think I have really actually been speechless, because normally I always know when something's going to happen, and I didn't know. But thank you very much. I appreciate that.
It was cool.
How you doing? Good?
Oh, we're fine. Realizing that with lockdown comes a complete need for exercise. And so, just before this, I was over on my stationary recumbent bike and cranking out some revolutions over there. And
have you hooked that up to a generator so you can charge batteries?
Not yet, but it's next on the list. My dog, who likes to sleep under my feet, could not quite understand and kept getting hit by the pedals. But aside from that, he's like, but I want to ow.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Technology update for the old dog.
I'm like, why are you people riding somewhere you don't go anywhere? What's wrong with you? But I have seen people put their dogs on treadmills before.
Oh, yeah. No, and the dogs are not doing much on the recumbent bike.
Yeah, well,
doesn't really work for them.
It's their poor little paws don't reach the pedals.
Exactly.
So anyway,
technology.
Technology! Holy crap! Things are. It's kind of funny. Things are changing literally by the day, if not by the hour, in some things.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to try to get through. We have a pretty good list here. I'm literally going to jump into yours first. And so the first thing we're talking about is the WDW News Today, which is a website that does the worldwide leader in Disney parks news, right? So Rob is going to start playing some of the video. We're really going to more talk over it.
If we can hold the audio off, that'll be great.
He'll hold the audio off, so that way we
good.
Can.
Because what we're seeing is adapting technology.
Yeah. And
one of the most brilliant pieces that came out of this was, I swear to God, somebody at Disney must have John Ogilvy's old quote up on the wall, which was, "God grant me the freedom of well-defined boundaries."
Right.
Because I think what Disney has discovered is that it does no good to tell people what to do. Just tell them what they can't do and let them feel free to be creative in between those lines.
Right.
So what we're going to see on the screen here in just a second is that they realize that telling people where to stand, like we have at the grocery store or at Lowe's or anything like that. Instead, what they discovered was, no, tell them where they can't stand.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about now.
Here's what we're looking at right here. Those are you can't stand here spaces.
Right.
And so you're free to stand anywhere else. But what that does is those can't stand here spaces now create the necessary space. Interestingly, in China, the spacing requirement is 1 meter, whereas in the rest of the world, like 3 feet 4 inches, something like that. But in the rest of the world, it's 6 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, everything's better in China.
Well, that's a country. That's a country that's. Now, see, so he's answering my questions I was getting ready to ask, because I'm like, okay, well, so is that each individual person, or is that family?
It's groups.
So a group can stand.
Okay. Yes, your group can stand together. Your group can sit together. Okay. But what your group can't do is merge with other groups.
Right.
You can't mingle. And we see where they've taken some of the rides and cut down the number of seats. They've taped off some number of seats, put spaces between the seats. For example, like the boat rides that we're used to, where there's, the seats on either side and the seats down the middle.
Yeah.
Well, they have no sitting on the seats in the middle.
Right.
So it's all around the outer edges now.
Right.
One of the interesting things, though, that I'm sure they're figuring it out, or it means that the numbers of people being admitted are going to be significantly lower.
Right.
They're talking about how it looks like that in some of the rides, like Pirates of the Caribbean, they're taking out every other row of seats in the boats.
Right.
Because the seats are less than a meter apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're only sitting, which means they're down to 50% capacity at the top end on those rides.
Right.
And yet they're saying that there should be no lines because we're limiting capacity into the park. In order for that to work, that means that they're limiting capacity much less than 50%.
No, I think it's more like 30%.
Because it would have to be 25 to 30%.
Right.
Same thing with the restaurants. Because if you're half the number of people but half the number of spaces, your lines are still exactly the same.
Right.
Nothing's changing. But if they're talking about eliminating lines, then they've got to be cutting attendance significantly in order to hit these numbers.
Right.
Now, when it comes to Florida, there are all kinds of things floating around out there about how, people who have reservations at the resorts are going to be able to get in, and then maybe some annual pass holders, and that's it. They're cutting off.
Right.
But we're going to have to see how they unroll that here in Florida, especially since we have the 6-foot guideline instead of the 1 meter guideline like they do in Shanghai, where they have completely mastered this virus and no one is in fear.
Have they mastered it?
By order of the emperor.
Well, yeah. Okay. So everything you hear from China is bullshit. So you have to.
No, it's absolutely true. I cross-referenced it with the World Health Organization.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that doesn't mean anything anymore. So there you have it.
No, the World Health Organization is completely supported by China.
Oh yeah, completely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
They aren't getting any of our money anymore.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to get our money anymore, which is, in my opinion, until they can prove that they're trusted and trustworthy, then
we
can
don't
suffer without our stuff, because our CDC does a pretty damn good job. So
I mean, look, if they were doing that for us, okay, I would expect other countries to pull out, and rightfully so. Right.
Absolutely. It's not just us that should be going, hey, look, you know what? I'm not going to give you our anyway. So So then we jump over to your other one that says, where we were talking about stats roundup, coronavirus impact on marketing, e-commerce, and advertising. So what's going on with this?
And there are a lot of things have changed, and they've changed so much. I mean, you're looking at and this is really weird because like in the UK, auto sales dropped 96%. And yet over here, with the way the stimulus funds went out, a lot of the essential workers with a couple kids were getting massive checks. My next door neighbor, he's putting in a pool right now because he's so flush. He sells high-end used cars. Yep. He sold 13 cars in like 4 weeks.
Yeah, because everybody got
for him is
so everybody went, they took their stimulus check instead of having money to feed themselves and stuff. They went and bought a car instead.
Well, they're still employed.
Right.
They had the money to feed themselves. Okay, they were essential or whatever.
Right.
Computer online workers, whatever it was. They took their money. Well, hey, look, I'm going to buy a new car. I need a car anyway, so what the hell? Which is good because it's stimulating the market.
Well, I mean, people don't realize.
But on the other hand,
people don't realize, and I learned this I thought I was aware of this, but I guess I wasn't as much as I thought I was. I learned this on the Chamber Show last week that a city like, say, just Newport Richey is super dependent on its car lots. I mean, I'm not talking about the used ones, but not the mom and I'll buy here, pay here's, but they help. But if a big car lot, like say Nissan,
Hyundai, all the ones over on 19.
Say Kia, friendly Kia goes out, right? Yeah. Because of the lost revenue on the sales tax, on the registration tax, the plate tax, all that kind of stuff. That helps stimulate a county or a city.
Oh yeah,
because that's huge amounts of money. A lot of people think that those guys out there they go buy all those and they put them out there and then they sell them and that's all theirs. No, those are out there on a big lease program, and if and it's like they're banking, and as they sell one, they get their little bit of cut, and a company and the overall supplier gets their cut. So it's not what you think it is. And I learned that. I thought I knew, but I guess I really didn't know. And that's okay. Knowing is half the battle. Yeah. That's what they say.
We all operate on percentages.
Right. Yeah. And, so, that's a big deal. But I know that, today they're opening up salons, and nail salons. And hair salons and nail salons. Yes, today they are. And the salons can't do walk-ins. That has to be appointment only. You can't bring your mom or brother or husband or whatever. Right. You have to go. Yeah. And no one can sit 15 minutes. When you're done and you get up from that chair has to be disinfected and sit for 15 minutes before the next person can come in. So, good. The hairdressers and nail salon techs, I mean, these, they haven't worked in 2 months. So, no, it's time. They need this to get back to work thing. But I know. It's crazy though. Here's my thing though. Well, let's go back to the parks real quick. It will be, I think, almost nearly impossible to go back to the way we were until. So I read this the other day, and I actually heard it on the news as well, that until 60 to 70% of the world's population has either had COVID or has got a shot for COVID, that it'll always be a pandemic, always. Because it takes that amount of the population to have been able to fight and get the antibodies and blah, blah, blah.
Little secret.
So if
the seasonal flu is categorized as a pandemic.
Yes, right. So to me, it's like the faster, and I know people are like, and do not text me or do not email. Well, how many people have to die? Because I'm just going to call you a moron. But with the faster we get back to normal. And I mean normal, no distancing, no mask, no gloves, just back to normal. And this crap runs its course. This is the way it's going to be. And I hate that when people go, this is the new normal, I don't want to hear those words because there is no new normal. But until we get back to the normal, this stuff won't go away. And our body, it's back in the day, I don't know about you, but we ate dirt and rolled around in mud and threw poop on each other from the cows, because we used to take the freaking cow patties and throw them as frisbees at each other. So that's just, we were country kids and we got out there and we played in this stuff. So
that explains a lot about you, John.
It should. Yeah. But we went camping. When we went camping, we didn't go with a camper and tents. We went with sleeping bags and we made our own crap and we ate what we caught and the whole 9 yards. So. In my generation, I think we're the ones that will make it through. It's the ones where we have pampered the kids, we've wiped their butts, we've sanitized the crap out of them, so they're immune and their antibodies are just not there. Well, they're going to be the ones that are going to be in this new normal of always being socially distanced. So that's just
and they have to be.
Yeah.
I had an interesting experience. I have an older brother. who growing up was the biggest allergy wimp you'd ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first thing I learned about allergies was that they're deadly. Okay, because look at your brother, and his nose was always running. He was always that. And so as soon as he went out and had his own house, he had to have he actually has a robotic lawnmower. He wears a he wears a mask all the time whenever he goes out during allergy season. And I'm like, I will never freaking be like that. Okay, I'm sorry. I am going to tough this thing out, and I did for 30 years.
Right.
I toughed this thing out. When we switched over and I started wearing a mask, all of my asthma symptoms went away.
Well, yeah, because you're not, and
I'm like,
because you're not breathing in dirt and pollen and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly, and that just completely irritates my lungs. So it's like, I may be doing some adapting or hanging on to this just because my body actually seems to work a whole lot better when I wear a mask.
Well, and that makes sense.
So as long as it's legit and I can do it, and my lungs aren't going to, be just, hellaciously attacked, then I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Right.
And so, but that is very different from being afraid of something. Okay. And look, I love the idea of flattening the curve. Okay. So that we don't overrun the healthcare system.
Well, first of all, let's make sure that
that's a great idea.
But the healthcare systems have not been even nowhere near overrun.
There are some places.
Well, New York City
tiny,
is different.
Brooklyn.
Because Brooklyn, everybody lives on top of
it. And they got
hit.
Right. Okay. But it was
Florida's
just one
hospitals.
Of the
yeah, but Florida's hospitals.
But it was just one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida hospitals were supposed to be at 200,000, admissions, and they can only fit 70,000, and they were actually at 2,100.
Yeah, and I know four nurses that have been sent home early every day because there's nobody in the COVID units.
Well, not only on the COVID units, but they haven't been allowed to go in for any elective surgeries, and we have hospitals filing bankruptcy during a health crisis.
Yeah, and you've also got people dying at home because they're afraid to death that they go into the hospitals, which is crazy.
I don't know what that stat is. Okay, I'd love to see some research on that.
Well,
but I know for a fact that hospitals have been filing bankruptcy in the middle of a health crisis where they have guaranteed payment for treating people with this disease.
Right.
So what's it mean? It means that there's nobody with this disease coming in, or certainly not enough for them to be able to stay open. And they're filing bankruptcy.
Yeah, the recovery
and they're
rate.
the worst.
And they're
the worst hospitals to do it.
Right. And then it's still the recovery rate is 99% still.
Yeah.
Worldwide, 99%.
Worldwide. Well, and you can't go by that number. Look, we have 1.3 million people and only, whatever the number is, recovered. It's like 250,000 recovered. Okay, something like that out of 80,000 who haven't. So it's like, 250,000 out of 1.3 million. You're telling me there's 1.1 million active patients right now? No, we have 1 million people who have not updated their status.
Nope. And then a thing come out of Wuhan the other day that, or actually from the government, that they pressed China, and Wuhan had was leaking this had this problem in October because of the main facility shut down in October. In October, it was because of a crisis. They didn't say it was COVID related, but it was crisis. Right. Which so anyway, let's get off this. So anyway,
I know.
We're going to have to get back to
marketing, which is where we were supposed to be.
Yes.
Marketing stats. So all this crap is going on, but there are things that are definite bright points. In the picture. If you focus on those and take advantage of those, which is terrible, you don't want to take advantage of things in a crisis.
Right.
But that was Warren Buffett's philosophy, and it did him okay.
Mm-hmm.
When people are greedy, be fearful. When people are fearful, be greedy. That's a quote from Warren Buffett, not from me. But the fact is, there are certain things that are doing well. Online clothing shopping worldwide is up 21% year over year.
Right.
Not just since it was down under that. I mean, year over year, online clothing has shot up because people are still buying clothes. They still need stuff, and they're buying it.
Yep.
It's a question of how they're buying it. And since you can do most of your business online now, it's a really good idea. I mean, let's say you have a small barber shop, you have a small something,
right?
Okay, and you want to go ahead and start to set up these appointments. Well, we have a phenomenal plugin for setting up appointments that we can put right into your website, and you can start taking those appointments online.
Correct.
And they book in, and that's it. You don't have to have somebody sitting on the phone the whole time taking phone calls, trying to work schedules out. People go in, schedule their appointment, they're done.
Right.
So you can adapt to this and become much more user friendly. But I think the most impressive stat that I saw had to do with email marketing.
Right.
And the fact is, people are glued. Email, bulk email opening, email marketing opening is up 40%.
Yeah.
Over where it was pre-crisis.
Right.
People are opening and reading their emails. They want to know what's happening. They're hungry for what you can tell them about your business and about how you can serve them. So, I mean, look, overall, the advertising revenue was supposed to be down 26%.
Right.
And it's down 42%,
right.
I think, according to the stats. It was a huge decline. What does that mean? That means advertising is cheap. Okay, people are fearful, so go ahead and be greedy. So you can do your online advertising, you can do your email marketing, you can drive these things, and then what you need to do is have something they can buy online and make that your home. Right. Make that work. Don't make it your new normal because it'll tick John off, but make it a new piece of how you want to operate your business. And that will be a great thing for you on the go forward.
I agree. Because right now, so one of the things that, it's kind of funny. We're going to jump over Elon Musk stuff. We'll come back to that if we have to. He's just threatening to move Teslas from California. So
yep.
Which I understand why he's doing it. So, but we talk about what you're talking about now is, a lot of people still use Microsoft for their email service, right? So Microsoft now blocks reply all email storms to end our inbox nightmare. Which I've asked for this from, I don't care who I use, because I want to be able to I don't want to send an email back to one of the two people that are in there, not everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you have people who hit reply all as a default.
Yeah.
Okay, that's your problem. You generally find it with older recipients.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they hit reply all without thinking.
Right.
Okay, that it means reply to everybody it was sent to, not reply with everything I want to say and don't edit it for me or something. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. Right. But so what they end up doing is you get these horrible, catastrophic email chains.
Yep.
And one of the worst things is when you get somebody starting a fight. Like when this happened, one of the vendors that we work with sent out an announcement that they were going to be hanging on to some people, letting other people go, and suddenly the reply all chain from the people that were being let go was just pure hell on earth.
Right.
Oh my God. So stopping that, I don't know how they're going to tell when someone legitimately wants to hit reply all.
Right.
Versus, I mean, are they going to put? Are you sure you want everybody on to receive this email to see your reply?
Right.
When you hit reply all, I mean, it could be that simple, and stop people going, oh yeah, that's stupid. I don't want to do that.
Right.
At least put a break in there.
Well, that's what they did.
Are they?
That's what they did. They put a break in there where it'll last for a couple of hours. So to do not get the emails back
they're
up
doing
like
that.
Why am I in this or blah 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 or blah blah blah. Well, then the first thing they tell you is, don't resend this email. The common risk of being a reply all storm. It might be best to reply to it at all. or your organizations might even have policies that discourage and prohibit replying to everyone, or you send to a smaller number of recipients. So, yeah. But
but honestly,
has nothing to do with marketing. But I'm just letting you know the email.
Well, no, it does. It really does, because it's time we spend wasted in front of our email box. And if we can get rid of these storms, like this that flood them, then on those days, email marketing will be more effective, because people are just like bulk deleting huge swaths of their inbox.
Right.
So, yeah.
And and so Microsoft's Outlook is going to be on the web, is going to get a Gmail like text prediction feature.
Oh.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Imagine that, Microsoft copying someone. Wow. I never imagined that happening.
I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like, stop. Stay. Just send and receive mail. Just do that.
Yeah, we don't need bells and whistles. I don't need stuff to slow it down. Please don't make it a bigger memory hog on my computer by adding in lots of additional software. Please take Cortana off my computer. I have no use for it. And stop taking up my space with stuff I absolutely don't want.
So,
and
I wanted to show that to you. I think you got figured.
Yeah, that's funny.
So, this is why Adam needs to be here, and unfortunately, his family's still dealing with that up there. So, because he would know more about this than I would. But let's jump back over to Elon. Oh, did I get rid of that one? I think I did. Crap.
He's come out with a very strong statement saying that he's going, not that he's threatening to move, that he's going to move his headquarters to either Nevada or Texas.
Right.
Okay. And honestly, when you look at the tax structure alone,
why would you open up a business there?
Oh, because of the tech hub. Okay, that is there.
Well, Silicon Valley is losing its
incredibly fertile. Yeah, well, it's fertile soil. Everything is there. It's like, why would you go to a hardware store to buy hardware?
Yeah.
Okay, that's really what it is. Everything is there that you need, all the expertise, all the talent, everything you need. But once you're there, the price for your
to do business there is ridiculous.
Is insane. Right. And then when you add to it policies and regulations that shut down businesses, and say, no, you aren't even, you're still going to owe the taxes. Right. We won't even get into what Cuomo did in New York with that.
Right.
Okay. But you're not going to be able to open. But don't be late on your tax bill.
Exactly. Well, see, and the thing of it, the way I look at it is if he moves, say if he does just go to Arizona. Just go to Arizona, right?
Well, he specifically said Nevada or Texas.
Okay, so even if he goes to, say he goes to Texas, right?
Yep.
He immediately, even after spending money to build a plant to do what he did, because he's not going to retrofit. He'll build his own. So build a plant, get it up and running, and within 2 years making 25% profit immediately just getting out of California.
Yep.
Just by leaving California.
And,
it's
honestly,
automatically. It's
with the jobs. 297 employees. Okay, average income $94,000.
Right.
And
they're at poverty level.
And the average is pretty close to the median.
Right.
Okay, or the mean with this. Okay, because these are high paid engineers and these are very high paid jobs.
But they live in California, so that means that they're at poverty level.
They're going to lose all those people. All those income taxes from those people are all going to leave.
Yeah, because they're going to move to Texas.
Because they're going to get 5 times the house for the same price.
Right, exactly.
Okay, that's assuming they can sell their house in California now. Because, again, they've created such an anti-commerce mentality.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll dump my house at half what I paid for it and still quadruple, make much more money than I need to buy a house in Texas.
Absolutely.
I don't care.
Absolutely.
Just get me the hell out of here, especially with the state income tax that they're paying.
Yeah,
so, there's an enormous number. When you make the price of your thank you too high, people aren't going to do it anymore.
Right.
And you know what? I am going to touch on Cuomo with what he did.
Go ahead.
All the people who volunteered their time, or their employers, their hospitals, their charities sent them to New York to help with the epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
He is sending all of those individuals an income tax bill for the time they were in New York.
Yep.
That's his way of saying thank you for coming to help save our lives. Here's a bill for you. And it's not for your employer.
No.
It's not for your charity.
You're the one responsible for the taxes. Yep.
You are responsible for paying New York your tax bill for while you were there saving their lives.
Right.
I mean, this mentality, this anti-cooperation mentality must stop, or technology will flee these areas because there is no point. And it is fleeing. And other places are, I mean, I hate to say it, but, you know, we are here in Tampa, we are Bay Area 2.0. We are the other Bay Area in the country.
Right.
And technology is rising here. It is becoming more fertile here.
Yep.
We've got national, I mean, prize-winning, competitors coming out of Tampa who are beating out MIT. They're beating out SoCal. They're beating out these great think tanks on these projects, and they're coming from Lutz.
Yep.
Okay? It's like, where the hell is Lutz?
Yeah.
Lutz, it doesn't matter anymore, because just like the virus has driven us online, okay, they've been there for a while.
Yeah, they
have been cooperating.
Right.
In a tax environment, we have no state income tax.
Right.
Okay. I mean, this is a great place to start a tech business. And so when you look at it, and the more and more people that are doing it, it's becoming more fertile, and it's going to suck the energy out of Silicon Valley.
Right.
It's going to suck it out of San Francisco as they become, you know what? Look at Tennessee making cars.
Yeah. Yep.
When did it not become Detroit anymore?
Right.
When Detroit cost too much money to stay there.
Yep. And
they're doing the same thing. And look at how Detroit looks today. And you can expect San Francisco and the Silicon Valley areas, okay, to look just like that. The only one that might survive is Apple, but I see Apple also going eventually. I mean, come on. Microsoft went to Seattle.
Yep.
They're not down there anymore.
Nope.
Okay. So all these headquarters, they're just going to move.
Yep.
And go where it's friendly.
And okay, so now I'm glad you're on that topic, because that moves us into Trump and Intel are reportedly pushing for new processor factories in the U.S., which we have said this. We've been saying this for a long time, that they need to be doing this anyway, because the this COVID-19 thing has shut down building computers. Like we've been talking about this since January with Adam. Yep.
Okay, because it's like, hey, wait a minute, where are we going to get our chips?
Right.
Okay, we've been talking about this since day one.
So Rob and I were talking, or actually Rob was talking, I was listening.
So you were talking to yourself, okay.
Pretty much. That we have facilities in the U.S. and we have some that well, there were some that got shut down in 2007. I think that's what he's told me. So, but the demand for computers, what is in the U.S. can't meet the demand. And I think the argument that Rob was kind of pushing out there is the fact that, well, we had these, but we shut them down. But that was in 2007. And anybody that understands the way the cycles is, between 2003, I think it was, and to 2006, 2007, to buy a computer that does what we do back then would have cost me 4 to 5 times as much as it does now, because we weren't pumping out machines like that. Just one of my Macs that I built for production in the studio, which we were all editing. I spent probably $5,000-$6,000 on a machine, and back then it was a lot of money. So now that same machine I can build in house here that does what I do for $2,500. So back then, a streamer that we would have built in studio here now that cost me $3,000 to $4,000, maybe $5,000. Back then, I think to price out and build what we do now would have probably run me 15 to 20 grand. At one point in time, I had two Apples. I have two Power Macs, sitting in the studio that both, when all said and done, with the bat. I mean, back then, we had terabyte back then, but that cost me. I had one machine that cost me $17,400 and something to build, and today I can go buy that same machine. That was an Apple. Mac, I can go buy that machine now for like $4,000 or $5,000. But it had monster video cards in it. It had as much RAM back then as we could physically put in there, as well as
you ran out of slots,
right?
Yeah.
And internal hard drives. To back then, to get a 500 gig hard drive back then was that was expensive. I mean, I think I had 4 hard drives in that one machine, and that was a total of like $4,000 or $5,000 to have those hard drives in there. It was ridiculously priced. Yeah. Now, I mean, I sit here and look at that now. I can go buy a little drive that looks like this. That's 4 terabytes, and it costs me $200. Oh my Jesus Christ!
I mean, you think about it.
Oh, so it's absolutely amazing.
I mean, this phone. Okay, I mean, $1,000 phone used to give you 16 gig of memory.
Yep, if that.
Now it's 256 gig with your eyes closed.
Right. So,
okay. And the reason that costs so much is because of the cameras in it.
Right.
Not because of the memory.
Exactly. So, for us to have more in United States based processors, I'm all for that. We need, and honestly, one of the other stats that I saw, I'm gonna bring you back. The number one economy in the world that has been obliterated by this, China. Yep.
Because nobody wants their stuff anymore.
Oh no.
Everybody is doing homegrown, and they are finding themselves at the other end of the stick that they've been whacking people with.
Right.
Okay. As far as their cheap manufacturing and cheap production and all that, and they are suffering.
So
right
does
now,
that
badly.
now? So that means that the price of computers is probably going to go up. Probably. I wouldn't doubt.
Yep.
I wouldn't doubt very seriously within a year from now, or maybe 2, that for a laptop you're going to go back to spending that $1,500 to $3,000 for a laptop that does bare minimum, kind of. I mean, I know we have production laptops in studio that are $4,000. I mean, it's just because they do what they do, and I don't have I don't have a shelf expectancy of 6 months. I've got a shelf expectancy.
No, things are going to be going back to their actual value.
Yeah.
It's an odd parallel, but it's like clothing.
Yep. Right.
Okay. When you, my wife and I both do historical clothing.
Right.
Okay. That's what we like to wear. And it's because when you make it with the right materials and you make it properly, she's got one of the people she follows made a corset for herself, and someone said, "Oh, can you make one for me?" And she said, "Yes." It'll be $18,000.
Right.
Okay. Which is crazy. But, the fact of the matter is, when you're doing things right, it costs more. But when you're doing things right and it costs more people have more money in their pockets because they were paid for doing it right.
Right.
And that's what will be, I hope, a huge takeaway from this situation, is that we are all going to be able, because we're not sending 80% of our money out of the country.
Exactly.
Okay, with these massive trade deficits, but we'll be able to keep more of that money here. And by doing that, we are going to have a stronger, more fertile economy of our own in which better things can grow.
Right.
So there you have it.
Just let you know. So here's something. We're going to skip down to a couple because I want to say the Twitch.
Better
thing.
India is going to start making everything cheap, and everybody's just going to buy from India now.
Whatever. Yeah, but I tell you, we've learned our lesson from this. I really think. I hope so. I really do hope that everybody says, we just keep everything here. At one point in time, the United States was not the leading producer of oil. Now the United States is the leading producer of oil. Mm-hmm. We produce more oil than anybody because we just said, I am not going to sit there and pay those arm rates from the other guys. We'll just pay our own arm rates inside. Make it good.
And what those rates went high enough.
Yep.
That it became profitable. There was enough of a motivator there.
Exactly.
So right now, there's enough of a motivator here. Right. I hope.
So
and it may not be price, and people almost always just go for cheap. Yeah. And that drives me nuts.
Cheap.
You buy crap on Wish.
Well, you know what? When you buy cheap, you get cheap. And you need to understand. Yeah. I heard the other day. What was it? Oh my God. This guy was. We were standing in line somewhere. Guy goes, I can't believe I'm here buying another TV. I just bought that a year and a half ago, and I can't believe it didn't last very long. And I just said to him,
buying another, $129.
I said, how much did that TV cost you? He goes, oh, it was great. It was a great price. It was like $120. I'm like, you got a year and a half out of it. That's pretty good, bro. Because if you buy shit, you're going to get shit. That's just the way it is. I mean, it really is. If you're going to pay that kind of price, and you might as well, 6 months, 7 months, a year, throw it away, because it's not worth anything.
And I mean, it's horrible for the environment. I mean, clothing, the amount of polyester clothing that we're putting into the environment is insane.
Well, that was
because not only
but that was from
not
the
only
70s.
when you throw it away. Oh no.
Okay, some of the 80s, we had some polyester back.
Dude, no, I'm talking about Walmart. Go to Walmart right now and try and find anything. Even their blue jeans are only 35% cotton.
Right.
Okay, you got 65% polyester in their blue jeans.
What do you think? What do you think the carpet is made out of?
Well, of course.
It's polyester.
I mean, virtually everything you're looking at, okay, but it then converts into microparticles, okay, when you wash them, and those go into, you can breathe it, you can flush it down your drain, okay, so it ends up in the environment one way or another. And then what do you do when you're done with it? You send it to a landfill. Okay,
I burn it.
And so you end up with just godly amounts. And it's the same thing with these televisions. How many times have I been driving down the road and somebody's got a TV sitting out by their garbage can?
Yep.
I mean, look, when we were younger, think about it.
Oh.
You had a third generation television that had been around for 12 years.
Yep.
Okay, that you took with you to college, because it was still freaking working.
Yep.
And when it broke, you paid $50 and you got it repaired.
Yeah, there was a TV guy always in every town I've ever lived in. There was a TV guy that always
every town had a TV repairman.
Yep.
Because it was worth repairing. Now you just throw it away. They're sitting out there on Tuesdays and Fridays. Go look. There's televisions on
everywhere. Right.
Okay. So, and because we're throwing the crap away, so buy a good one. And
there you go.
Vitamix.
Exactly. So
Vitamix. We bought a Vitamix and we stopped replacing our blender every 6 months.
Oh, there you go. Very good. So Google says that the majority of its employees will work from home until 2021.
Yep.
So only essential staffers are coming back June and July. So I think this is the other. I've heard a couple other people say this, and it's like, wow. I mean, as long as they're getting paid. They're still keeping the economy running as long as they're not firing everybody.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to.
But this, think about. Remember, we talked several weeks ago about this phenomenon and what it's going to do to large offices. Okay.
Yep.
Large offices are going to go away, and by and large, they're going to disappear over time. Secondly, I had another discussion with somebody who's pointing out that a lot of the co-work spaces, the big chains, the WeWorks of the world, they're filing bankruptcy right now. They're gone.
Right.
Okay, because their contracts are so expensive and the real estate they've built or developed is crushing them. They can't maintain. However, the local work co-op spaces, they're actually doing okay. They're going to be the ones who survive and start picking up the slack when people from Google need to have a meeting and they no longer have a big headquarters.
Right.
Excuse me. That's what we're going to be seeing in the future.
I think so. I think a lot of people. I think Rob was one that said this to me a couple of weeks ago. He goes, this with the way we're doing things online now and deliveries and all this kind of stuff, and people, like a year ago, people were like, we can't do that. It's just not feasible, blah, blah, blah. Now all of a sudden we're doing it. Now no one can say, well, we can't really do it that way. Now it's, well, okay, we can do it that way. It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. I mean, there are projects that are almost impossible to do.
Yeah.
When you're not in person. I mean, when you are under a time crunch and you've got, a 4-person team, and they're all building the same thing together, you kind of need to be together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But those situations are not as frequent as the regular, everyday, doing your work from the office. And so these systems, I mean, I'm excited to imagine what's going to replace Zoom. What is going to be the next better thing?
I mean, okay, so Facebook rolled out theirs. And I'm speaking of Zoom. I'm gonna read it real quick.
Yeah.
Zoom buys the identity services Keybase as part of a 90-day security push, which
Good.
I'm really kind of glad because I mean we've not been ever Zoom bombed or anything like that.
Right.
But so all of a sudden, Facebook comes out with their new Zoom room or their new Facebook rooms.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is it's cool for family type stuff, but not for business. You can't share. It's not secure. It kind of sucks. I tried it with some friends, and we're like, no, we'll never use this. Now I know Google came out with their Google rooms, which was pretty decent. But I just didn't like the feel of it. It was clunky at best.
Yeah.
I do know that Microsoft's Teams, I did try that the other day, and it works pretty damn well. The problem is that you can only do one instance. So say like right now you're zooming in. If I needed Adam to zoom in and then another person to zoom in, all three of our machines are taken. I can't do that with the Google rooms. I mean Teams.
Yeah.
Teams you have to have for every instant, and we don't do. I know a lot of people they mask the 4UP Zoom feed, so they feed everybody into one Zoom machine, then they have an overlay mask, and they know how sizing and stuff is like that. Blah blah blah. Well, we don't do it that way. You literally are sitting on your own machine, so I have the high res, as well as high res as I can get from Zoom. So, but.
Which isn't bad at all.
Frankly. It's the better the end user's camera is, and the better the end user's audio is, the better it is coming into us. I mean, I always tell my clients, I'm not responsible for them. I can't be. So if you're going to zoom them in, they've got to have the right kind of stuff. That's just the way it is. I noticed the progression of security over the last 4 weeks. We've been using Zoom forever. I mean, it's a standard in our studio, has been for the past 4 years. But it's gotten better and better and better. Now, the one thing I do miss being able to give someone a link and they just automatically load in and we hear the ding dong, blah blah, they're there. I don't like the chat room. I don't like that waiting room feature, and I'm pretty sure. I know
you can turn that off.
Well, I know. I was gonna say, I know you can turn it off, but then you lose the potential security because we've used it that way. We have not had any Zoom bombs yet. So
when you turn off the waiting room, it automatically activates the password.
Oh, does it really?
That you have to have. And then you can go down and turn off the password again. But I just set up a meeting yesterday, and it toggled between the two. And as soon as I changed one, it went back and changed the other. And I had to go down and manually change the other again to go back to what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
It's working really well.
I like the fact that it just, every time I send a new link out, I get a new password, and that's what they use that link to get in, and only they. Now I always tell them, like, okay, so we had Congressman Bill Rikes on last week, and we sent him a link, and inside the description it says, "Please do not share this link; it will deactivate." And so, but instead he did, so it deactivated both because we had that set on there, so we had to send him a new link. So we can go back in. I said, you cannot share that. That is strictly for you and you only. So, But I'm real happy with Zoom. I don't want to. I probably won't jump anywhere else.
They are. They're leading the pack.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, the security patch was no big deal. I mean, that's like yesterday's news.
Right.
But the fact that obviously they're taking it seriously, and with their enhanced revenue stream, when you go from 10 million to 300 million users, you get a kind of enhanced revenue stream.
They can afford to go do it now.
They can afford to go buy, a new security company and stay ahead. But I'm wondering what is going to be the next level above them, because that is going to be tremendous. Yeah. And it's not going to come from Microsoft, and it's not going to come from Google. Obviously, I mean, look, these guys can't even duplicate what Zoom has when it's right in front of them. I mean, come on, it's right
exactly,
there, and they can't even match this spunky little startup. So what's going to happen is it's going to be another spunky little startup.
Right, it is.
That's going to come around, and they're going to create something that's going to absolutely blow our minds.
Yep.
Because that's how it works.
Right, exactly.
And it won't come out of Silicon Valley because, everybody's leaving.
Yep.
So there you go.
So the one last thing about the COVID thing I want to talk about is on-demand food delivery apps are letting minors order alcohol. I guess it's come out of California. It says the COVID-19 is spurring underage alcohol purchasing. Well, duh. Did you not think this was going to happen when you're able to go on, order food? Oh yeah, and order some alcohol drinks because you don't know if that person is of age sitting on that other end. So, even though everybody says, "Oh, the alcohol delivery thing will continue," and blah blah blah, I got a feeling it will not. I got a feeling it will get shut down because of this very thing. Because what if somebody's using mommy and daddy's credit card? And they order that stuff, and then next thing you know, you got a bunch of teenagers that are just lit from drinking.
I'm going to say this, okay? We need to look at a different model because in Europe, kids drink all the time, and it's no big deal, and nobody really worries about it. And because it's no big deal and nobody worries about it, there's no big thrill about going out and being able to, oh my God, I can scam the Instacart app and I can get alcohol delivered.
Right.
Okay? And they don't do that. Okay. And so I would hope that the way we would respond is to go, you know what? Whatever. You're home. You're not driving. Who cares?
Yeah, but you don't want some 15-year-old getting shit-faced. Yeah, but you don't want some 15-year-old getting hammered. I mean, that's burning.
You mean like we did?
I didn't say I didn't.
You mean like we did? And look how we survived?
Well, that's true.
Okay. It's eating dirt, John.
It is.
It's eating dirt.
I guess.
Okay,
so.
And you learn from it.
Yeah, you do.
The first time you got way too drunk, what did you learn about getting way too drunk?
I hate.
And did you ever learn that before you got way too drunk?
No.
You had to experience it.
I learned that I cannot.
It is its own vaccine.
I can learn that I cannot drink gin. I hate it. So.
Yeah. That is. Gin has an amazing history. I found out.
I know, but I don't want to go there. Google app is helping kids improve reading skills. It's now available in 180 countries. I think this is kind of cool. It's called Read Along, and it's helping.
Okay.
To me, it's an app for Android, right? And it helps teach reading skills in elementary students. Is now available access 180 companies. It got announced today. Well, kind of today.
180 countries. Yeah. That's cool. I haven't looked at it that much because I'm pretty sure I already know how to read.
Well, yeah, but
I at least try.
This is for elementary kids, dude. I mean, mommy and daddy's sitting home with these they're little angels that they're finding out are not little angels.
Yeah, I know. It's like, God, there ought to be an app for parenting. Okay, here it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, we had I know one little girl who learned very differently from other kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized what she was doing. She was in third grade and couldn't read. Okay. Wow. She was normalized. She was passing up. She was brilliant at cheating.
Really?
She was cheating her way through every test, everything. She could not read. They hadn't identified it. Okay. But when I, caught her holding a book upside down one time, I realized what the hell was going on.
Right.
And so, so what we ended up doing was working with her and just using a different method.
Right.
Because what she was trying, she learned to speak in sentences. And so being able to adapt these things to kids who learn differently is going to be the real key.
Yep.
One way of teaching is not the way of teaching. And so if this Google app allows people to customize the learning style of the child,
right,
then it will be truly useful. And that goes right into the whole, where are we going with e-learning versus colleges? Quite frankly, I think brick and mortars are going away. I think the idea of a college degree is going away.
Well, it should have been.
And the idea of individual certifications are what's going to matter. Right. And you can get them all your life. Because when you're 50 years old and you're being told you can't have a job despite 30 years experience because you don't have a bachelor's degree,
that's crazy.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Okay, it's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't even apply anymore. Because what the hell would I have learned 30 years ago that I can use today?
I told that to a guy. Okay, so I told that to a guy. He was like, "You should come work for us." I was like, "I don't have the right degree for you guys." And he goes, "Well, what do you have?" And I said, "I have a double bachelor's." He goes, "Yeah, we kind of want a little bit higher and blah, blah, blah." I said, "But I've got years of experience doing exactly what you need me to do." I said, "And here's the thing. I went to school 40 years ago or 30 years ago, right?
Right.
And what I learned then has nothing to do with what you, even though my degrees are where you want me to be, my degree has nothing to do now because that was a totally different world that I learned that from."
It was. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, come on. Analog, okay, editing.
I used to cut. I used to do audio. I used to do audio and video editing tape to tape. So
exactly. I mean, what are you thinking,
tiling
guys?
was done different back then. So anyway, I wanted to touch on something cool, something
Hurry up,
cool, right? I know. So next week we're going to touch on how they're thinking about redistributing the G5 towers. But Twitch Roulette helps you find the loneliest streamers. So I guess there's a now you can go in there and ask and say, "Twitch, give me something cool to watch," and they will go find these people that have like 10 or 15 or 20 to help them build up their viewership, which I think is absolutely awesome.
That is awesome. That is the flip side of taking the likes out of Insta.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the flip side. Is, you know what? Let's go proactive with this.
Right.
And let's help promote everybody. And maybe it'll be crap, but you know what? We can't rely on the group to decide what's best all the time, because they will often only decide what is popular.
There you go. So that being said, hey, if you got any questions for us, text Shamans at WeBeamTV.com. Feel free to call us, text us, email us, talk to us on Facebook, whatever, and we will get something out there that if you want to talk about. With that being said, Anthony, see everybody next Monday.
Take care, everybody.
All right.
Have a good one.
Everybody have a good weekend.
Shamans, we understand, cause we take shamans. Dude, I got this cool thing to show you. Really, man? Yeah, it's far out and technical and stuff. Awesome. Yeah. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Come on and turn it on. Tune into the Tech Shamans. Cool.